So we have more Hillary speculation and chatter going on. This is unfortunate. Never say never, Hillary Clinton says. Many, many, many people are pressuring her to throw her hat into the 2020 ring. Oh boy. Former Democratic nominee and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has kept the door open for the possibility of a future presidential run. Well, you know, I never say never, she told BBC5 Radio on Tuesday in response to whether or not she was considering a 2020 bid. I will certainly tell you I'm under enormous pressure from many, many, many people to think about it, she responded. But as of this moment, sitting here in the studio talking to you, that is absolutely not my plans. Despite the uncertainty surrounding a future campaign, Clinton has recently returned to the spotlight, taking jabs at current 2020 Democrats and their policies. Now, I'll give you one guess which wing of the party she decided to go after. We know what wing of the party. She's going after the left. And, of course, her comments in regards to policy are like, well, you know, Medicare for all and free college. That's not something that's attainable. You know, every time she talks, she reminds you how and why she lost to a reality show buffoon. Is because she, like, ultimately she has a nihilistic vision of, like, we can't fix anything ever and, you know, basically give up trying. So, yeah, of course that message is going to lose. It's a defeatist message. Nobody, you know, is excited to go out and vote for no change, vote for the status quo. So, in a weird way, even though every time she goes in public, she tries to blame everybody else but her, she actually further verifies and proves that it wasn't anything else, it was her. I mean, other things impacted the election, but she was the main reason why she lost. She could have overcame all the things that were thrown her way pretty easily because she had a very beatable opponent, but she didn't do it because she doesn't have that natural politician's instinct. She doesn't know how to come across as genuine and trying to fix problems. And it's because she's not. It's because she wanted to be president for her own ego. So, man, it's so bad. I get PTSD every time I think of what happened in 2016, and I get it every time I see another article with Hillary Clinton. So, yeah, she comes out in the public to, you know, berate politicians pushing for Medicare for all and free college. And now she's pretending, and there's no doubt about it, there's no ambiguity. I'm not stuttering here. She is pretending like people are asking her to get into the race now. Nobody's asking her to get into the race now. Nobody. Not even her beloved establishment. And they do love her. She is like part of the club. She's one of the founding members of the club. But even they are not like, Hillary, we need you to run. You don't get a mulligan against Trump. You're not going to get a mulligan. And you were uniquely weak against him. So what are you going to do now? We covered a story a while ago when there was more coverage of this, and it said that she was considering, like, pretending she's a totally new person and running, like, trying to run to the left, trying to embrace 1990s style Hillary Clinton, where she was further left. And when she wasn't, like, beaten down by Washington, and she didn't capitulate to Washington and just become a total corporate sellout. So that would mean, you know, yeah, like she's going to run on single payer and all this stuff. I mean, listen, at this point, everybody knows it would be a strategy. So she wouldn't be able to do that. She wouldn't be able to get away with it because there are people who are in the race, obviously, who are more believable, who are actually repping that ideology. So what do you have to offer? You have nothing to offer. But it's clear that whatever the speculation was then, it's different now because she hasn't been going out into the public and saying, yeah, Medicare for all is great. No, it's been going out to the public and saying the opposite. But I really was amused by I will certainly tell you, I'm under enormous pressure from many, many, many people to think about it. You want to know what her approval rating is? I'm not kidding about this. Her approval rating has gone down since losing that race. Just so you know, that's unprecedented. Usually, if you lose an election and you go away for 2 years, 3 years, your approval rating bounces back up, because it actually is true, especially in the world of politics, that absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I often said about Hillary, and even with Biden, the idea of a Hillary presidency back in 2014, let's say, the idea of a Biden presidency when he went away for an extended period of time, people go, oh yeah, no, sure, yeah. I remember they played some role. Hillary, Secretary of State, obviously. Biden, the vice president. And the idea of it is better than the reality of it. And when you see them on the campaign trail, you hear them, and they have to make their case, their poll numbers start going down. So for Hillary, it's really unprecedented. Like Mitt Romney, when he went away, fast forward to 2014, 2015, his polls bounced back. George W. Bush, he left office with like a 20-something% approval rating. Just historically abysmal. But fast forward 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, and obviously he's been out of office since 2008, so we're a long way past 2008 now, but now his approval rating's like double what it was. Because again, absence makes the heart grow fonder. People just forget what you did. Now, I'm not saying that's a good thing or that should be the case. People should evaluate based on the actual policies and their record, but they don't do that. And it is more of a feelings thing. So with Hillary, she loses the election. Donald Trump is an abysmal, disastrous president, but fast forward to today, she's less popular than she was even when she lost. She has a 36% approval rating. On what planet do you think, a lot of people are telling me, this, in a weird way, this sounds like Trump. Many people, some of the most brilliant people, some of the best people you've ever seen, many people are asking me to run again. I'm under enormous pressure, tremendous pressure to run again. No, you're not. Nobody's saying that. You're in your own head. Please, for the love of God, go away. Because it's not just that Hillary has to go away. It's that the entire ideology she represents has to go away. Because that ideology is the death of the Democratic Party. It's neoliberal, centrist corporatism. And you have to understand the history of this. It's post-Ronald Reagan. When Bill Clinton, her husband, won in 1992, he ran as a new Democrat. He ran as somebody who triangulates, is what it's called, where he goes, I'm above the fray. I'm not like these lefties. I'm not like these righties. I'm an above the fray guy who evaluates stuff on a case-by-case basis. I'm so reasonable. And at the time, you could argue that it was a politically intelligent move in terms of the raw politics of it and strategy of it. But in today's day and age, after George W. Bush, all bets were off. That neoliberal centrism, gone. That's not the ideology that people were yearning for in the country. You had a hardcore neoconservative in office who got us into countless wars, cut taxes for the rich, deregulated like there's no tomorrow, crashed the economy. So people were looking for a new FDR. And some people thought that's what they were getting with Obama. That's not what we got. He governed more like Bill Clinton. He governed more like a centrist. But they're still running on that 1990s model as if like that's the only option that's on the table if you're a Democratic politician. That's not true. There's also the option of going back to your roots, going back to FDR-style politics, going back to unapologetic social democracy. We covered on the show the other day. Jimmy Carter ran on a single-payer healthcare system. JFK ran on a single-payer healthcare system. All these different... There's a rich legacy, a rich history of Democratic politicians being unapologetic social democrats. And, Hillary comes along and Bill comes along and this new centrist cult comes along, and they will not let go of power. And the reason they still have power and can maintain power, even though they don't have the numbers behind them, because the people aren't with them, is because of all the corporate money, because of all the corruption, because they are really, really, really well funded, because their ideology is very kind to corporations. So corporations want them to be the dominant wing of the Democratic Party. But their time's up. Their time's up, which is why now the establishment's panicking. They're realizing, oh my God, it could be Bernie Sanders. A lot of them also think, oh my God, it could be Elizabeth Warren. I think it's likely to be either Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren that gets the nomination. So, and obviously they hate Bernie more than Warren. Don't get it twisted here. But they'd still rather have a Mayor Pete or a Klobuchar than a Warren. There's no doubt about that. So they realize, oh my God, and now they're trying to throw everything they got at them in the same way that the Republican establishment tried to do that to Trump. But it's so funny because you see how much of a paper tiger they are, especially with stories like this. Hillary's like, oh, many people want me to run. Nobody wants you to run. Nobody wants you to run. Nobody. There's nobody. No, there's nobody. But she has to puff up her own ego because nobody else will. Nobody else is going to. So here we are. Now, having said all that, if she jumps in the race, it helps Bernie in the same way that Michael Bloomberg jumping in helps Bernie, in the same way that Deval Patrick jumping in helps Bernie. So, Hillary, go right ahead. Because the easier you make that path for America's dad, Bernard Sanders, the more I'm for it.